You're listening to episode 148 of the SBP Podcast Mobile Filmmaking, and I'm your host, Susie Botello. Hey, I'm here with Erica E.T. Taylor. E.T., you are in Houston, Texas, where the weather right now is just perfect, isn't it? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm trying not to melt. Yes, so perfectly hot here in Houston, Texas. All over Texas,
It's
really.
like a BLT.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
you guys are. I am so sorry that it's so hot over there. We'll get it here. We're in California, so we'll get some of that heat. Hey, speaking of heat,
Mhm.
you and Carla and Shellsy, why don't you
Yes.
mention your team for a second there, if you don't mind, that came over to our film festival this last April with your rookie film, Coming Home.
Yes. So Chelsea Malveaux is the, let's say, executive producer of Coming Home, and Carla Lyles, who sometimes we also say Carla Sue, but Carla Lyles is the graphic designer. So of the poster that you see um, and any other flyers made, she was the artist behind that. And I, of course, the filmmaker behind Coming Home. And so we all work together to produce Coming Home, which Coming Home is a it is a component of Chelsea's overall event that she has called Intimate Conversations. And so Intimate Conversations is all about being able to have tough discussions in an intimate space around tough topics. And so for um, her latest production, she wanted to add or incorporate a short film aspect to that as a way for it to serve as um, multiple things. So, an educational piece, a visual representation, and also a promotional piece for the overall event. And so we went all out with it, not only producing a short film, but also a trailer, also photos, putting that
You
together.
you had an event. You had an
Yes,
event over there in Texas.
yes. So it was an event, and so the short film part was a part of that overall big event.
It was awesome. And also, you even had an event once your film was selected. Um,
Yes. So we were excited to find out about getting us selected. So for our first short film, and then this International Mobile Film Festival was our first film festival to apply to. And when I saw the email back in February about being accepted, that was like such an amazing feeling. And so both Chelsea and I think we just kind of I don't know what we kind of just celebrated. We kind of just paused. We were in shock that we got selected. Um, I think I was standing in the middle of the parking lot, just couldn't believe it, and just feeling good about the work that we put in for that project. So to get accepted, I
so
thought
you
that
found
was
that in a
cool.
parking lot?
No. Oh, yes. Found out about being accepted in the parking lot. I was just on my way to my car
Nice.
and just happened to check my email. So,
I've heard of people having babies in parking lots, but
yes,
oh,
we didn't
that's
do.
so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going back to that whole thing, it's just one of the things that's really cool about being able to have you on here as well, personally for me, is because during the festival, I wasn't, I was busy directing the film festival, putting out fires, as they say. No, it wasn't that bad. But, I was so busy doing all that stuff, and you guys were all having a blast together and connecting. But I didn't have that much time, with you guys. I did have time during the kickoff on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one way that I get to share some things with you. But one of the cool things was, so you and I met on Twitter.
Right.
We followed each other, but I think it was shortly after we were following each other that you put on this video there about starting your company.
Yes.
And I remember I retweeted that. And I remember I retweeted that because I found that very inspiring, the way that you shared that and your excitement over that. I'm going full steam ahead. I'm going to start my company. Yes. You know what I mean? And I literally, I don't retweet that much when it's people that I don't know yet. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Especially on Twitter. But I went and retweeted that, and I was so excited for you. And I just wanted to share that with you, that I was with you on that, And then soon after that, you started saying things like, well, I'm going to be in your film festival. Well, blah, blah, blah. True. And lo and behold, you did what you said you were going to do.
Yes, that's true. Well, I think I'm not sure how I found your account, but I must have been excited about the fact that the festival was dedicated to doing everything with your mobile phones. And so the start of my production company is really mobile based. So just with my phone. So I was in a crossroads with do I go further in my education? I recently got accepted into 2 PhD programs, and I was in the crossroads.
That doesn't just happen every day.
Right, it does not happen. I've been I want to say rejected, but I've applied multiple times before, and so to finally get a yes, that was a great feeling.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But I was also,
that's a lifetime thing. Yeah.
Yes. So I was also excited about the idea of starting my own production company and really just using my skills to be able to transfer them into using my smartphone. And so, and that's one of the reasons why I came up with the name Rebel Moon Creative. One, I like moons. I love moons. And then Rebel was a way to go against the norm and being able to still tell awesome stories, still produce great work, but using your mobile phone. And I knew I was reading books about mobile filmmakers that were going on for 10 plus years. And maybe it was through that book where I found out about the festival.
I think so. I was going to say, I know one book that was from our friend Max Schlesser, and I'm just going to drop his name and give him a shout out.
It was him. It was his book.
Yeah.
It was his book. And so let's go ahead and say I must have saw the name of International Mobile Film Festival. I was like, oh, that's cool. And, the more I dig, the more I find, social media accounts, and I saw yours, and I just followed, and I loved what was happening. And so I was like, all right, I just need a little bit more time, but next year, I'm going to be in this film festival. Now, this was before even producing a film. I have not done a film before. I figured at some point I would find a way to get there.
And you're going to keep going further. So after one of the things that I can't say I'm surprised anymore about it is people who've never made a film before and who go for it. And, it's just so incredible because you're going for it, you experiment with it, you get into a film festival,
Hmm.
and then you go, wow, you inspire yourself with what you
Yes.
did.
Yes.
You inspire other people with what you did. And then you suck the energy from that and you put it into your next, how should I say, masterpiece.
That's true.
Because everything that you've learned, right? I mean, you got to, I mean, let's talk about what you're saying here too. So you got two PhDs
Oh,
um
so
offered to you.
yes, that's
You've got a
correct.
master's degree,
Correct.
and here you are going, and it's in media and journalism also.
My most recent one was in film studies. My most
Yeah.
recent master.
So you've got, but so you have both. So you have media and journalism and then film.
Yes. Well,
Yeah. That
well,
covers everything.
so a little bit of sports. So let's say my first master's was in sports media,
Yeah.
and then my second, after working in education, I went back to school for my second master's, and that was in film studies. And so I think
I have no idea
my
how somebody gets out of that and goes, I'm going back in.
yes, a lot of trying to figure out my next steps.
Yeah. So you do all that, then you make a film. And this is your thing now, right? I mean, you thoroughly enjoy, shooting. I do you appreciate all aspects of filmmaking, or is it mainly being behind the camera that you like more than? Because I know for most people, I like them all. I like putting
Hmm.
things together
Hmm.
through the camera while I'm behind the camera. I love that because it's like a world that I'm making happen in front of
Hmm.
me, right?
Hmm.
But then I also like to put everything that I just captured or that other people capture into a video as
Hmm.
well. I like to connect the pieces. It's kind of like building a puzzle, but with a story, not just an image.
Right.
Do you like those things, or
So
do you prefer one over the other?
when it comes to filmmaking, I actually uh, I would say I love everything like pre-production. So I love the research part of it. I love the studying part of it. I love trying to understand how I can develop a story, how I can take it to maybe take it to another level in that story. I love watching films to help with inspiring ways I can maybe shoot something or light something. And so, in the process of, of starting a new project, that's I would say that's probably my favorite part is the studying of it, the research part of it, and then taking what I've gathered and putting it into, let's say, the writing or the storyboarding, or just kind of fleshing out the storyline better.
In your film Coming Home, this was in a way, I mean, you were the filmmaker, you were leading this thing, but but it was kind of like a group project, right?
Yes, so a team for sure. Yes, definitely a team.
Yeah, I mean, group project. I think you're getting me into the whole schooling thing. All right, class, we're doing a group project. um, yeah, it's a team. Let me get back to my reality here.
Yeah.
um, yeah, and with your team, so you had Shellsy as your protagonist in the story,
Yes. Yes, she was.
and share the. Did you already share the synopsis of it? You didn't. I mean, like a little more in depth.
No, I don't think so. So, Coming Home served as a visual representation of a woman coming home, not only literally, but figuratively as well. And coming from dealing with, let's say, the dread or even um, um, negative attachment or even labels of your day to day experience at work. And so being able to come home, um, and trying to get to a point where you can reset, and kind of reground yourself, before moving on to the next thing. And so that's, the visual side or the representation side we wanted to showcase, as it aligned with, the event itself for intimate conversations, which focused in on women, particularly Black women, and their feelings of coming home, or what does home mean for them in so many ways. And so, uh, that's, I guess, the gist of, coming home, the short
Of the
film.
film.
Hmm. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Eh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, so I was going to say, in the trailer, you see more of her on her way to her home, and then so we, even though it's, um, what's the exact time? A minute and 7 seconds.
It's like a minute and 10
A minute
seconds.
and 10 seconds. So we didn't treat it like it was a minute and 10 seconds. We treated it like it was,
A
something
story.
larger, something bigger, and something more impactful. So that was the overall goal, the impact. And so we went all out and produced a trailer for it. Um, and so when you see the actual film, it's the short film itself starts off in the home because now she's home, and you know, that's when
Ah, I
everything kicks
see.
in. So,
Yeah, really cool. I mean,
hmm
it's hard, when I ask people for a trailer and they're like, it's only a minute film, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Because it's
no,
it's a habit of me to ask. And when you said you did have a trailer, I was like,
hmm
oh, how awesome. And we're going to share that trailer in the notes, the link for it as well,
yeah,
so that
cool.
people have them. And so, Erica,
hmm
um, what did you use? I know what you use, but
hmm
share what you used. The 13, the iPhone 13 uh, Pro Pro Max.
Yes. So, wow, I have more accessories now, especially after, leaving the film festival back in April. So, um, but when we shot this, July, July 22, all I had
Yeah,
was, my iPhone 13 Pro Max. I had a regular tripod. Um, I had a 3-point lighting kit. Um,
nice. Like
and
the full size lighting kit.
Yep, the full size, so full size lighting kit. Um, most of my shots were done on a tripod. And then other shots were done on one of my favorite handy dandy, tools to use, which you saw me all the time. Like in San Diego, you saw me holding on to it. And
Yeah.
that's what I used to film. Because at the time I didn't have a gimbal, I didn't have, a rig. Um, so what I used was a, um, I'm gonna call it a gadget called Shift Cam Pro Grip.
Yeah.
And you can now I think it's
It's like a
primarily,
cage.
sort of, it feels, yeah, it feels like a thick phone case, but it's primarily
Yeah.
made for photographers. So it does have a shutter button, and it allows you to either hold your phone vertically or landscape mode. um, and so and then it also has a strap that goes around your hand. So it just allows you, if you're doing photography, it allows you to quickly snap photos. Um, but I loved how smooth I was able to pan my shots or tilt my shots. And so when we needed to do any, things related to movement in the short film, I just used, the Pro Grip, to help with that. So that was about as bare bones, well, I guess more bare than that would be no actual gadget to hold my phone, but
Hey, you know what? You can use a shoe.
Shoot, yes.
It's, right? I mean, it's just something to help keep your fingers off of the phone itself. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But
True.
but to be honest with you, with the 13 and even some of the earlier ones, the stabilization internally, when you set that on in the settings, it helps a lot.
Hmm.
It's a lot better than it was with the 4 and the 5 and the 6 even.
Hmm.
But they started getting better.
Hmm.
But before that, it was like, oh my god, just having the fingers on the phone itself caused vibrations and things like that.
True.
But you've also shot with traditional cameras, right?
Yes, I have. So I did a lot of that during my schooling, or even as a educator, um, if I needed to train about particular topics related to the camera. Um, but mainly
So
during
you
my
knew all the
time,
camera moves.
right? So I knew everything, and I got a lot of
Yeah.
reps because of the nature of sports. I got a lot of reps
Oh
in
my
that.
god, that is the hardest thing. Sports are the hardest thing. There's no way, especially if you're trying to follow the ball. It's
Yes.
like, because you gotta frame it so I don't know if our listeners watch sports. I'm not into sports myself, but I still know when I watch sports, I can tell what you're supposed to do. Plus, I had to learn it in school
Hmm.
myself, and that is that you don't want to. You focus on what's in front of the ball, on the direction of where the ball is heading.
Hmm.
Because if you're just following that ball, especially when you're zooming in or anything like that, you're going to miss it. You're just going to be chasing it instead of capturing it.
Right. And
And you
you,
can see it on the video
yes, and you don't want to
later.
miss the big play.
Yeah. And,
So
and
yeah.
you're very much anticipating everything, getting wide shots and going close up and
Hmm.
pulling in and out and all those things. Sports is really, I would say, sports and action chase scenes are one
Hmm.
of the hardest things to not only to record, but also to or to capture, but also to edit and put together in a way, with cinematography, so that the juxtaposition of the shots, so that it makes sense when you're watching them.
Hmm.
And so you got to practice a lot with that. So you're probably you so on in your company, not to
Yes.
sway from this, you're shooting with your iPhone now,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. So I still do all iPhone, and a lot of my recent jobs have been like event videography. So if someone has an event happening and they want to be able to um, have footage film so they can have a recap video. That's what some of my recent jobs have been.
And do you also edit the footage for them?
Yes, so I do the filming and I do the editing. I want to say up until a couple months ago, I was filming and editing on my phone. Maybe
Oh, nice.
just last month, um, I edited using Adobe Premiere. Um, but yeah, for 98% of everything has been I'll film with my phone and edit with my phone. Editing app I use is Power Director, and so that's been handy for me as far as editing.
That one is, I think that one is also an Android app, like, as well, right?
You know, I wouldn't know. I'm team iPhone, so I wouldn't I wouldn't know. Yeah, so
You're really good with photography.
thank you. Most of what I post on my page at et dot the creative. If you see photos, it's mainly because I'm just leisurely going out. I may go out downtown or to the park or something to where I can just practice taking photos with my phone. Or if there's just something cool to capture, then I like doing that. And if I'm doing a work related event, it's the cool thing about shooting with your iPhone. If you're filming, you can also take some time, though it can be kind of distracting, but you can take some time to also capture photos. Um, and so
Yeah, I
sometimes
thought
I'll
there's a
post as
feature
well.
on there where you can capture the photo while you're recording video, but I think the quality of the photo is not as good
Right. So I
when you're doing
avoid
it while
those.
recording.
Yeah, I avoid those. Um,
Yeah, me
yeah.
too.
Yeah. So when it's work related, I'll just tell my clients I'll focus on one or the other. So I won't like do both. So it's either
Yeah,
videography, focus there, or photography. And so usually photography is what my clients will go with.
because you can use those for graphics. Do you also do graphics?
I don't do graphics. I'm not a graphics person. I know how to work Canvas. Is it Canvas?
Oh,
Canvas.
Canvas.
Canvas. Yeah, I know how to do that, the basics of that. But when it comes to graphics
I
and
used that for
designing,
a long
I'm not
time.
good.
Well, not a long time. Yeah, I used Canvas for a while. Canva, I should
Canva.
say.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's all good. I used it for a while because I was transitioning between Adobe, and
Hmm.
then I got Affinity, and I love Affinity. Affinity is they have designer and photo and publisher, which all three of those basically are like InDesign,
Hmm.
Photoshop, and publisher. And by the way, guys, I have no affiliation with Affinity. They're just that good, and they're
Hmm.
not subscription.
Hmm.
Uh, and so you might think about it. The price is really good on that ET,
Okay.
and you'll up your game because one of the cool things about taking photos, I do it for the film festival all the time, is I like to turn them into graphics for
Okay.
my business.
Hmm.
And that might be something else, you can offer your clients.
True. True. Duly
Yeah,
noted. Duly noted.
right.
Yes.
Anything I could do to help. um, so, so anyway, so okay, so you made Coming Home, and what's your plan for your next film?
My next film,
You're going all features?
man, I'm not sure. The cool thing is I did have someone reach out to me about a film project and being able to lead that. And so we've met a few times. So I think it's just a matter of um, kind of buckling down and finally, working on things like the script and storyboard and things like that.
The stuff you
Um,
love to do.
yes. So, but as far as my own film project, at least right now, I feel more motivated if I'm presented with a project, and then kind of taking that story idea and developing it further. Um, versus me coming up with the idea. I think I'm still coming around to developing short film ideas to then push forward. So at this moment, I feel comfortable if I'm presented with a project and kind of taking in the storyline and seeing where I can take things further. Um, but in the meantime, it's been um, taking on event videography gigs.
Yeah. I mean, it pays too.
Yes, yes.
I mean, come on.
Yes, at least I have that down. Yeah, at least I have that down.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the festival experience that you guys had. First of all, how good were those San Diego tacos?
Great. So much so, especially when it comes to fish tacos. I've been trying to now order more
Yeah.
fish tacos here in Houston. So I enjoyed not only the tacos there, but nearly every dish I had while in San Diego
It's like a
was
foodie's haven
amazing.
over here.
Yes. Yes. The my weight scale did go up.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a vacation kind of, right? As
Yes.
well.
Yes.
I mean, it was business, of course,
Right.
in case the IRS is listening.
Right.
it's a
Disclaimer.
it's a business expense,
Hmm.
but it was definitely you don't come to San Diego um, without having fun.
That's true.
Can't not have fun here.
And I feel like
You
we had
guys
a
hit the
blast.
all the good parts of San Diego too. I was looking at some of your photos
Yes,
on
we had a blast.
Instagram. You guys are so good on Instagram.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we wanted to make sure for our first time being in a film festival that we used up as much time and do as much cool things as we could while we were there. So it was like just enjoying the experience, enjoying the moment. So yeah,
And what about the festival itself?
the festival itself, day one of the festival, which was Saturday, right? Or do you consider that
Yeah.
day two? So Saturday,
So the kickoff, yeah, the
okay,
real day one, the official day one was Saturday because that's the one we started with the films and all that. Yeah.
okay. So um, we were blown away by the first film that you screened, that you presented.
Yeah.
Um, I know in English it's called Unknown, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Unknowns.
so much so it moved Carla to tears. We were just so amazed on that first feature film there. So that was a great way to just get us tuned in of
Yeah, great way
the
to
great
start,
work.
right? Like
Yes.
a
Um,
great kickstart, getting everybody in tears.
yeah. And also, I think we were just amazed by the storyline, the creativity, the cinematography. And it was like, man, this was done with a smartphone, a mobile phone. And then to see all the works following that, um, it was just amazing to see so much great work done with smartphones, and then being around other mobile filmmakers, whether it was some who that's what they solely use, or whether it was kind of trying something different to feel the passion. That's encouraged me to want to make sure like I continue to embrace mobile filmmaking or mobile videography, um, because it's still about telling an awesome story. It's still about doing great work. Um, and man, yeah, I thought I enjoyed every film, and so much so, all three of us, me, Shellsy, and Carla, we came away truly inspired. So much so, we have a masterpiece. We have masterpiece of ideas from that event. So um, I loved it. I loved it.
I know I've been talking with a few of the filmmakers, and they're still talking about the festival, and they talk about you guys as well. You guys
Aw,
made a really big impact at the festival itself.
yeah. It was
It was quite
fun.
social.
Yes. So it was great to meet everyone. Um, Levi, we absolutely enjoyed Levi's and his team. The workshop. His film one was awesome, or their film was awesome, and the
Hey, were you guys
workshop
the ones that were screaming up front in that film? I
we
was sitting
probably
way in the
did.
back. I didn't know who it was. It was like, don't go in there. Don't look
We
at that. Oh my
we,
God.
we probably did. We probably did do a little bit of screaming. Um, but I love the workshops. I took a lot of notes, and it was um. So now uh, I'm using the 58 millimeter lens with my work now, and I got that from listening to
Was that a game changer?
Levi. It was very
Yeah, did
nice
that.
to have. It's so I've done
Yeah.
now maybe just a few two work related, and one more or a couple more leisure ones. But it's been really nice to just experiment with that lens and see the difference between having that lens on and not. And I'm like, dang, I want to make sure I use it, more often, and just thinking of uh, now having greater knowledge of what to do going into that next film, things to consider from the initial idea to the time you have to start distributing it until the next time, until it's time to also submit it into Film Fest. So it was really nice to hear Levi and his production crew talk about how they prepped from start to finish.
Yeah, all the details on that, and I know you guys were also. I think everybody was taking notes. It was really
Yes.
cool to
Yes.
see, people doing that. And then all the things that the books and the storyboard, the props. They even shared some of the props, and
Yes.
they passed it
Yes.
around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it was really good, and it was good to see everybody. I mean, I'm questioning you on that because I want to make sure you got something good out of it. I know you had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
there was
Yes.
there was no question on my mind about that. I just wanted to make sure that you got something out of it. Something that you
Yeah.
could take home and use.
Y-
From it.
Yes. I did. There's one other filmmaker, I'm forgetting his name, but he had such great energy about being a mobile filmmaker. And him embracing that as well. I can't remember his name, but
Was it Aaron?
I'm not sure. I know we follow each other. That's all I know.
Well, I
I
mean,
can't
you're
remember.
all following each other.
um,
um,
but he
there was Jason. There was Matt. There was Aaron. There was
Jasper.
oh, Jasper. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. He's
Yes.
also from he lives around LA, but he's from Oceanside or something like that, Carlsbad or something. I'm sorry, Jasper.
Okay.
Yes. He just shot another film, and I know that he just finished his other film, and he also made way I met him was through the Spider-Man movie that he made.
Wow. Yeah,
Also shot on a phone. It was about 20 minutes.
okay. Yeah, he's super amazing. And yeah, I love that
Yeah,
he
there.
also was like highly passionate about mobile filmmaking. So,
Yes, yes. Once it takes a hold of you, and it inspires you because you just don't realize how much you know, and how I wouldn't say it's easy, but it
hmm
frees you. One of the things that a lot of our guests here in the podcast have said before is how much it frees their mind, from all the technicalities of filmmaking into
hmm
just concentrating on the story and what they're filming.
hmm
Instead of having to worry about so much about settings and gear and attachments and cables and all those things. It just sort of, it's like lifting this haze of this map, that's embedded in front of you. And so
hmm
all you have to focus on is just making that, getting the footage,
Right. That's true.
and making your film.
Right. And it still comes back to the story. Is the story good enough? Does it make sense? And so I think if we're able to do that, then um, I think that's the most important thing.
And sometimes you don't really, like, you're never absolutely sure how good it's going to be. When you're going from a screenplay or a script, right?
hmm
And the storyboard and everything like that until you actually film it and you start to look at the footage, and then you go, wow, this is good,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I think we got that feeling once we knew, but seeing it on the big screen was like it like sealed the deal. Like that was our first time seeing it on a big screen. Um, Most of the times it's been on a smaller screen. So to
Yeah.
see it and it still looked good, looked better than what we've been used to seeing it. It was such a gratifying experience. Um,
And sitting around people watching it too.
yes, yes. So I just
Because you're
tried to
like,
take
look,
it
that's
in.
my thing. That's
Yeah,
my film up there. Hey
that's
guys,
it.
look.
Right. So it was it was great.
Did you I know, I like I said, I know that everyone is still talking about you guys. And I know that I know you guys are still in touch with people there. Um I just hope that there's something you can tell me and our listeners, as we're coming, as we're wrapping up, as we say, that you can share with our listeners that, you know, they should make a note of, if they're thinking about making a movie with their smartphone.
If they're thinking about making a movie with their smartphone,
There's something maybe that you learned that you will, yeah, you really need to know this, or you really shouldn't, you know, you need to know this somehow.
hmm,
You know, something positive.
something positive. Excuse me. I would say, hopefully you're able to create and start it with a good group of friends. Um, Building a good team around you, um, and that you enjoy your friends or that team because you're going to be with them working on that project for an extended amount of time. um, I think that's a part of, that's a core aspect in being able to produce a film. And once you enjoy each other's company like that, that helps to get through and navigate some of the, uncertainties uh, or things you just don't realize, especially if it's your first time making a film that you're going to have to go through. And when you get done with it, it it ends up bringing us like closer to, or bringing your group closer together, because you were able to start a project, especially in an unknown path, um, and you sometimes you overestimate or underestimate how things will go, but once you're able to get through the other side, it's like, wow, we really just put our first film together. So if you have a great team, a supportive team, around you, and if you're able to create that, then that can take you far, and it'll make you feel like you want to create the next project, and do more with that same team. So I think that was a big takeaway, because had it not been for the short film, I don't think, for example, um, Shellsy, Carla, and I would be as close, as we are today. And we all three of us have amazing things going on, but that short film, has allowed us to come together more, to the point to where we're looking to create something really awesome in the future uh, that we're excited about.
Yeah, my gosh, that is the best. That is the best. I didn't expect you to say something that awesome. You know,
Thank you,
I think
thank
you
you.
just inspired me.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yes. And I felt that
Um,
same way. It was also, confirmation seeing, Levi and his team together, and how much he said, like, that's an important aspect too. Like, having the right people support you. And, they're working on a feature film. And so that's even more important to have, critical, supportive people who can, be aligned with the overall goal. So,
yeah, they've been working for years together on so many projects,
wow.
you know, and so many films, and you know, they're family, you
Yeah.
know, and I think, you know, I've worked on different films myself, and it's always family. You know, you're building a family over time, and even if you don't work for the same director or whatever, you still end up meeting, you know, working with a few of the same people from the last one and things like that. But
Mhm.
what they've got going is pretty awesome because they're expanding their family, but they usually have the same team members,
Mhm.
um, you know, working on their film. And you know what he said there, that he wants to have a bigger crew for the next one.
Wow. Yeah.
So you know, collaboration, walking away from um, from a film festival where you're like quote unquote networking with people, but when you're making friends, you're building trust with each other, and then you get to collaborate with each other because in this business you have to trust each other.
Mhm.
Um, it's not like I mean it's there's a lot of passion and creativity involved,
Mhm.
and it takes, I hate to say this, but it takes special people to really make it in film.
Mm.
Because it's hard work.
Mhm.
It really is, and it's very hard for people. I've been on film sets where you see people, they're interning or whatever, and then they never come back because they were like, I didn't realize it was going to be this much work.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of work involved, but you see
Mhm.
people knocking each other out, no, knocking themselves out, sorry, to make things happen.
Yeah, just a little bit of
So
both.
yeah, there's this pride at when you achieve, even for one scene. It's like, oh my god, we lit this.
Yes.
I remember being on a set one time with the mosquitoes. It was with the big lights at night, and we were waiting. The director and the cinematographer walked away, and we were like just standing there waiting and waiting and waiting. And meanwhile,
Yes.
we were being attacked by these giant mosquitoes because it was at a horse ranch
Mhm.
on top of it. So the only real lights there where we happen to be were these big, huge lights. And they, you have to warm them up, and it takes a while for them to cool down. And then you have to, get them warmed up again and all this stuff. So they couldn't just turn it off and turn it on like house lights.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And we were all getting eaten by mosquitoes. It was crazy. um, but we were still there. We're just waiting, and then they came back, and then we did it, and then we all went back in, and we were like, oh, can't believe we finally got
Finally
through
made
that.
it. Yep.
And we put our all into it.
Yeah.
Just for a scene that was only going to take. I mean, it was only going to take probably less than 2 minutes
Right.
in the movie. So, and you guys put a lot of work in your film,
We
even though it is
did.
short. You
Yeah.
did, and you sent a good message home. See what I did there?
Yes. Yeah. We yeah. I mean,
So
for a minute and 10, that took, our first time, that took us, I think we thought maybe only, 2 to 3 hours, but that took maybe double that. Because it
yeah,
was, I feel like we kind of finished up around midnight. Um, but we finished, we didn't finish feeling tired or angry or anything. We finished feeling like we just, won an award already. And so we ordered food and, toasted to like our,
look at what we
look at what we
did.
did. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's awesome. It's a great feeling. It's like it's good for you. It's
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah.
Everybody out there, go make a movie. It's good mental health. It's good healthy thing to do. So let's see. Last thing. Last thing said. Where I know you mentioned your Instagram, but mention it again. Mention your Instagram, wherever people can follow you.
But you can follow me on Instagram at et.thecreative, Shellsy at unconventional_shell, and also you can follow Carla at shop Carla Sue. I'm going to say make sure you follow all three of us so you can stay tuned to announcements um, for, I want to call it this masterpiece that we have, that we're working on, that we've been inspired since April, due to the International Mobile Film Festival. And so stick with us.
I am looking forward to this. I'll be tuning
Yeah.
in.
Yes, yes.
All right. Yeah. And make sure you guys go to the notes and watch the trailer, and I'll put links to everything she just said in case you're driving. You don't need to pull
Yes.
over.
And
And
I also want
yeah.
to, while I have it here, so of course, special shout out to Shellsy, Carla. They're in the house. They're
Are
in the
they
house
there?
here. Yes, can y'all say a little?
Bring
And
bring them closer to the mic and have them say bring them
okay.
closer to the mic.
I also want to mention we had like a few others that also worked on the film.
The set designers and all that.
Yes. So special
Yeah,
shout
go
out
for it.
to Coco Bates, Jasmine Woodson. Anyone else I'm leaving out?
Astoria
Astoria, Miss Story,
Stubbs.
Stubbs. Special shout
I'm
out.
not I'm reading it, guys.
Oh,
I'm not.
okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then special shout out to our support system, our support base in Houston, that has also been along in the journey, from our friends, our family, from the start of the project to happy hours to celebrations. So screenings. We've just been really blessed to have a lot of support.
Yes. It's like 100 people at least.
Yes, it
From
takes a
what I've seen.
village.
Yes.
Takes a village.
Yeah. Takes a village. Nice.
Yes.
All right, you got them there. What I want them to do is just to give a big shout out to everybody who was at the film festival and those who were online whose films they saw. Okay, Chelsea. Hola, Chelsea.
Hi, Susie.
How are you?
I am wonderful. Just enjoying the company of beautiful people and beautiful vibes.
Yes. Well, I asked ET to bring you on because what I wanted you to do is just to say some words to the filmmakers, not just the ones that you met at the film festival, but to the ones whose films you got to watch during the event as well.
I really appreciated not just the national but the international films. It was beautiful to see the visual concept and seeing their perception on their projects, and it was just beautiful. I will definitely give it a 12 out of 10 on creativity and just being unapologetic, because when it comes to this art form, I really feel like this is a beautiful way for all of us to really put our minds together to create something beautiful, especially when it comes to either a subject matter we want to talk about or just feel what's inside our heads onto, on film. So I appreciated everyone's creativity.
You rock. Everybody's talking about you, right?
Oh
Everybody's like,
my
yeah.
gosh.
So I've been talking with Chelsea. The last when I had this podcast episode with Levi, he mentioned you, and Monique also mentioned you, and you're a very supportive friend of everybody's. So I appreciate you. You were a what should I say, like an icon at the film festival.
Oh wow. I just blame that on my personality. It was just again, like what everyone's saying, it was just a reunion of filmmakers. Even though we've all met each other for the first time, I mean, of course, on our side, it was definitely a place where we felt comfortable and we felt um, open to these beautiful relationships and building relationships within this industry. So with just everyone opening their arms, I was like, great, I can open my arms too. So
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective. And now let's get Carla.
of course, thank you for having us, including E, and having us too. So I'm going to pass it to Carla.
Hello, Susie. It's Carla. How are you?
I am good. I feel like I'm talking to my family, like in another state or something.
I
Hi,
know. I
cousin.
know. That's so nice. I'm happy you feel the same way I do.
Yes, yes. You're definitely part of my new family.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah. Well, you're awesome, Carla. I asked Shellsy. You couldn't hear what I was asking her and why she was saying all that she was saying,
No,
but
I had no idea what was going
right, you're like, I don't know why she's going on about this.
on.
Well, I asked her to. So I asked her to share her experience and from her perspective, because a lot of filmmakers couldn't make it,
Hmm.
to our film festivals, and a lot of them could. And your perspective, going on record here at the podcast
Hmm.
of what you experienced from the film and then meeting some of them in person. You want to share that?
Oh, absolutely. What I first want to say is, Susie, you have really just created just such a beautiful space for us to come and gather, where like minds can really come and build together, and it's so nice. And it's so refreshing. And you really have taken the time year after year to really, put all of your efforts into growing this community. And I'm happy that I'm a part of it. So thank you, Susie. Um,
Thank
what?
you.
Yeah, of course. Uh, when I first got there, I wasn't really sure what to expect because, I'm not a director, I'm a designer. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to pull from this experience? And when I got there, the first film, it impacted me so deeply. It was so moving. The storyline was beautiful. And then I was seeing graphics in the film, and I was recognizing like, oh, I can do that, So the film
Hmm.
festival, definitely, it helped me reshape like the possibilities of what I can do with my designs. Seeing design implemented in the films really got the wheels turning in my mind, and I'm looking at Chelsea and I'm looking at Erica like, hey, I can do that. We can do that. So it was just so
Oh,
inspiring, the whole entire event. And so to be able to watch the films and then turn around and talk to the creators, the people that are behind these masterpieces, it felt like such an honor. It felt like something that should be treasured, and I treasure it. So I mean, it was incredible. I pulled so much away from it. I could keep going on for hours, Susie. We don't even have the time. But I really,
wow.
it was incredible. It was really, really incredible. And everybody was just so welcoming and so loving. And so it matched our energy because I knew Shellsy and Erica and I mean, when we come in the room, that's pretty much how we are everywhere. We're like a big old ball of energy because we are all just three of us have just individually our personalities are like on fire. So together it is like, what is happening? So, but to see everybody kind of like matching that same energy was like, oh, this is nice. This is really nice. So it was a
Yeah.
really, really good vibe. Yeah, it's a really good vibe. And yeah, we just like Erica was saying, like we got so inspired by it. We have been creating since like as soon as like the last day, it was like we instantly started creating something new. And
Nice.
we've been working at it ever since, and we're excited to like, whenever it comes, just make sure y'all are keeping your eyes on us. Y'all have our social
Yeah.
media handles, so just make sure you're keeping your eyes on us individually. We are all just doing dynamic things, but together, oh man, we're coming with some heat. So I'm excited. I'm super excited.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Susie. Really, the relationship built with you is really it's very important to me and to all of us. So we're grateful to have met you and to have been a part of this truly.
I can't thank you guys enough. You guys flew in from Texas,
Hmm.
and it wasn't even as hot as it is today, right? But but you came all the way out here. I know you guys enjoyed yourself, but it means a world to me that you guys came. It means every single person that comes to the film festival brings a part of their energy and their best self to the space, and that's what I really create the space for, is for you all to see each other's work, including the filmmakers who couldn't come. I mean, they leave a piece for you there, even though they couldn't be there. And it's so I don't want people to feel bad, about it, because their stories were told and they impacted you, who were there. The only real benefit is, of course, it's San Diego, and you get to meet people in person. You get to feel the vibes in the room, and
Right.
you get to connect in a different way. But I'm glad that you shared your perspective with everyone. And I'm glad that you embraced everyone there. You guys were a big hit at the festival.
um, you all were. I mean, it was amazing. And, you really, all the intention that you put into this, I mean, it was felt. It was definitely felt. Yeah. So
I'm so
bravo to
happy
you,
about that.
Susie. Yeah,
Thank
you did
you.
it. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Well, thank you for being on the show, Erica, Carla, and Shellsy. And now, say goodbye to our listeners.
Goodbye, listeners from ET.